How many people can Earth support? Human actions can have a major impact. There are nearly 8 billion people living on Earth today, but our planet wasn't always so crowded. Around 300,000 years ago, when Homo sapiens likely first appeared, our total population was small, between 100 and 10,000 people. There were so few people at the start that it took approximately 35,000 years for the human population to double in size, according to Joe E. Cohen, head to the Laboratory of Populations in the Rockefeller University and Columbia University in New York City. After the invention of agriculture between 15,000 and 10,000 years ago, when there were between 1 million and 10 million individuals on Earth, it took 1,500 years for the human population to double. By the 16th century, the time needed for the population to double dropped to 300 years, and by the turn of the 19th century, it took a mere 130 years. From 1930 to 1974, the Earth's population doubled again in just 44 years. But is the human population expected to continue growing at this rate? And is there any upper limit to how many humans our planet can support? In 1679, Tony van Leeuwenhoek, a scientist and inventor of the microscope, predicted that Earth could support 13.4 billion people. According to Cohen, he calculated that Holland occupied one part in 13,400 of Earth's habitable land, and so multiplied Holland's population of 1 million people by 13,400. Over 40 years of research, Cohen has collated 65 estimates ranging from 1 billion to over 1 trillion people. The scattering estimates of how many people the Earth can support increases over time, meaning that there is little consensus in how many Homo sapiens our planet can support. Cohen told Life Science. Engineers initially used the term carrying capacity to describe how much cargo a ship could hold. In the 19th century, wildlife managers then used the term in herd management, before scientists later applied the concept to ecology to describe the maximum population of a species that a given habitat could support. Within a habitat, a population will remain stable if birth and death rates are equal, Cohen said. But environmental changes, such as pollution or disease, can increase or decrease a habitat's carrying capacity. As Cohen explained, when it comes to the human population, carrying capacity depends on both natural constraints and human choices. For instance, natural constraints include food scarcity, and inhospitable environments. Human choices include interactions between economics and culture, such as how we produce and consume goods, as well as birth rates, average lifespans, and migrations. Many low-income countries around the world have high birth rates and large family sizes, but also a high rate of infant mortality and shorter lifespans. But Jolin said, more and more countries, once they reach a certain stage of socio-economic cultural development, tend to converge towards about 2 children per couple or fewer. This means that while access to healthcare increased lifespans, suggesting population growth, this tends to occur in countries with a falling birth rate. Global population growth peaked in the 1960s and has slowed since then. In 1950, the average birth rate was 5.05 children per woman, according to the UN Population Division. In 2020, it had fallen to 2.44 children per woman. In the past, people used to give birth to a lot of child, and an average woman will give birth to 5.05 children. In 1950s, as Shirley explained, right now the scientific consensus is that population of the world will reach a peak sometime later this century. The world population is projected to reach 10.4 billion people sometime in the 2080s, and remain there until 2100, according to the United Nations Population Division. But Jolin stressed the further that demographers look into the future, the more speculative and uncertain their predictions become. The number of people can support is not a fixed figure. The way humans produce and consume natural resources affects how our environment will be able to sustain future populations. As Jolin said, when it comes to carrying capacity, it's a matter of mode of production, mode of consumption, who had access to what and how. One study published in the Journal of Proceedings in the National Academy of Sciences found that if the population of the United States switched to a vegetarian diet, the land used to grow crops for humans rather than animal feed for meat production, who feed an additional 350 million Americans, high-income countries, while females have increased access to education and family planning, tend to have lower birth rates and smaller family sizes than middle and low-income countries, according to Max Roser, director of the Oxford Merton Programme on Global Development in the UK, writing in Our World in Data. Put another way, there may be an upper limit on how many humans Earth could support, but we don't know exactly what that figure is. It varies based on how we produce, consume, and manage our resources. For Cohen, if we want to affect how many people planet Earth can support, we would need to decide how many people want Jaguars with 4 wheels and how many Jaguars with 4 legs.